Okay, we're back with Mrs. Sosby, and now she is going to talk to us about grouping-related questions that you had from your observation of her class during the faculty meeting here about 2 weeks ago. Mrs. Sosby, talk us through your decision-making regarding developing small groups of students.
We make new groups every time there's a new unit.
Okay.
And how I base the groups is I use a assessment that is in the unit. It's supposed to be at the end. I just give it at the beginning as a pre-assessment. That lets me know who knows what do I need to focus on in my teaching, but also in my groups. Then I take that information and place them into groups according to their abilities and scores and skill level.
And that was the assessment you shared with the teachers prior to the observation?
Yes.
And so just to clarify, that starts with the district stage 2 assessment, but you also add items to that, correct?
Yes, I do. I know that there are a few things, especially ACT inspired questions that I write myself that add in there so that I know, is it skill level, is it reading level, is it determining what kind of questioning is it that's getting them.
So based on student responses, you then do an item analysis of who did what on each one, and then you form your groups that way. How do you decide what you teach in each group? So you have this similar ability or achievement level group. Now what?
So I look at it and I determine if it's the higher group, is it that they understand everything and now we need to go in bigger numbers and try higher level numbers? Or is it that we don't understand what the problem's even asking? So we go through and we determine different things. It just depends on what this one is. This one's on multiplication and division. I have some groups that don't even understand that multiplication is groups. So we work on the group aspect of it and putting groups together. I have other groups who understand, then we need to be able to understand that it's grouping. They even have the 1 digit by 2 digit now. So now we're trying to put even higher numbers together. How do we decompose numbers?
Okay. How often do you regroup students?
New unit.
Every new unit.
Every new
unit. You
unit.
said that earlier, that at the start of each unit is when the assessment takes place. And then
the modules, if they're not similar, require sometimes to regroup for each module that's inside of the unit.
Okay.
The next
That makes
module
sense.
for us is graphing. That doesn't do anything with division and multiplication, so we'll have to give a pre-assessment.
A different assessment. Okay, that makes sense. You've kind of talked about, but is there anything else you want to add about what you do to engage students who are at or above grade level? You talked about in the IXL that when they're working independent, if they complete that course of grade level actions in IXL, then you have some next steps for them to work on. You also talked about in your grouping that you really do try to drill down to see what students, the students that are on level or your higher group of students, what they may have misconceptions on, and then you work on that in a small group. Is there anything else you want to add about what you do to work with students who are your higher level or higher performing students?
We just, I can also sometimes pair them up with someone else and do some of that peer teaching, especially if they've gotten it, and it may during that math time, it may be during that independent work, let them peer teach someone else.
Okay. How often do you meet with students? Do you ever meet with students more than once a week?
So every group has once a week that they meet with me. Then with Miss Toland, a group meets with her twice a week. And sometimes they do grade level work, but it may be things from previous units that they didn't master.
Okay.
Different types of things.
With Miss Toland?
With Miss Toland.
Okay.
But everybody meets with me at least once a week. And
so
then,
once a week with you, twice a week with her, for a total of 3 times a week they're in small group instruction in your class. Okay.
So.
Okay. Any more you need to add about small group instruction?
That's when I check by folders. Somebody asked about that. Like when do I check their independent work from? That's just when I check it.
Okay.
Like flip it open real quick, show me what you did, so I can make sure, do a quick check
and that
at the
can
table.
kind of help give you some real-time information to drive how you're going to address things within the group.
Yep.
Okay, good. Well, this concludes our session on small group instruction. In our next installment, we're going to talk about what happens in her class regarding your questions about independent activities. Thanks for watching.